Okay.
So he wouldn't have been your caliber of a person to either, really know or kind of hang out with.
At a young age, Marvin kind of got into the streets, basically.
Yes.
Okay, and I don't know how deep into the conversation you are willing to go, but you said you're willing to be open and honest about everything. So
yes, Marvin went to prison. Yes, well, he got locked up at 17.
okay, he got locked up at 17.
Yes.
What?
He has been in trouble, a lot of times, but he got locked up at 17, and then they kept him until he turned 18, tried him as an adult, and then 1995 gives him a 39-year sentence, 1996.
Wow, that is straight bull.
Yes.
Okay, so you knew him prior to being incarcerated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I met him at 14 years old. I was almost 15. Right after my first daughter passed away with the miscarriage, I then met him after. After I met him, me and him became really good, close friends. 3 years later, he went to prison on a 39-year sentence.
So how did Marvin reach out to connect with you once he was in prison?
Well, I never left contact with him, so he didn't have to reach out with me.
Okay.
I was there doing his court. When they sent us in the prison, I was there. I was there on his journey to prison.
So was y'all just friends at that point?
Yes, we were just friends. And then, like I said, within maybe after he got sentenced in 96, maybe like a 10-year span, we didn't really talk often, very seldom. But then after the 10-year gap of him being in prison, I reached out to him and let him know that I had this gentleman that liked me and everything, and I didn't know what to do because, I really liked him, and in my mind at that age, I called myself going to wait for him on this 39-year sentence. So in the courtroom of the day that he was handed 39 years, Sharon decided that she was going to look him in the face and tell him, I'm going to do these 39 years with you, and I'll be here for you when you get out.
So you liked Marvin before he went in, but up until that point, y'all was just friends.
Yes. Marvin was a cool dude. I mean, he was a ladies' man. Who didn't like him? He was just a person with charisma. He was just a ladies' man. But at the time, me and him was just friends. My issue was Marvin had always liked me. But my issue was I had seen him go with girls, run through girls, different things like that. And in my opinion, I was not going to be a girl that he per se ran through.
Okay. I understand that. Do you and Marvin have any children together?
No, me and Marvin doesn't have any children together.
Okay. So, at what point, because I'm thinking late 90s, y'all was still corresponding mostly through letters and phone calls?
Through phone calls and letters, yes.
Oh, wow. That was because I went to Job Corps in 95. I remember when I was in Job Corps, letters was like godsend when you in a place where you can't really, move around a lot.
Yes, that's how we corresponded. Like I said, in 95 is when they actually got him. He was 17 years old. They had to keep him until 1996 until he turned 18 years old because they couldn't try him as an adult at 17. So they waited. They pushed around and waited. At 18, he was sentenced to the 39 years in prison, and then that's how we conversated, through letters. Like you said, I even was underage 1 year under him, and I couldn't even see him on my own. I used to go see him through his sister's name, because this was before you had to show an ID or anything. So I used to go with his grandparents as his sister.
If you don't mind sharing, what did he go in for?
Murder. Second-degree murder. Second-degree murder, 39-year sentence.
Wow, that kind of threw me. I thought it was going to be drug charges or something.
Me too.
Oh, no, they don't give you 39 years for drug charges.
See,
They give you 10 years or 5 years.
Oh, okay. See, I've never really dealt with the system.
Well, that's kind of good. That's why you have me to help you with all your system questions.
Yeah, exactly. So so you said you was always attracted to him. What attracted you to him? Was it the whole bad boy thing?
Well, for me, it wasn't a bad boy thing. It was more of his caring side. Marvin was the type of person that nobody seen his soft side. He was a gang member. He was a crip. Nobody got to see the soft side. So for me, it was fun to watch him be amongst people and, friends and everything with his heart and serious. But when we got together, I was able to see the inside of him that nobody got to see. So for me, it was more of an attraction to the inner part of him, and then he became a father figure for me. Because remember, I told you earlier, my father was in the home, but he drove trucks. So anything that I needed, I could go to Marvin. For example, I had to eat free lunch in school. But when I met Marvin, I didn't have to eat free lunch anymore because he actually paid for my lunch every day. Now, I told you in the beginning, he was a ladies' man. So check this out. He would come to school, pay for my lunch, have me pay for two other girls' lunch. They would go about their business. He would sit and eat lunch with me and then leave off the school campus.
That was some pimp shit before.
Yeah. And I loved it.
Wow. So was he a street dude? That's how he was making his money?
Yes, that's how he made his money.
Okay. And for those people in the back or the white people who don't understand, that means he was a street pharmacist, aka drug dealer. So it's like you were attracted not just to his bad boy side, but you saw something deep within him that most people probably didn't see.
Yes, I would go as far to say, even him passing on June the 14th, almost 3 years ago, people didn't know him. People knew the hard part. The thing about him is he had two sides. And he would only, even family, friends, mom, dad, brother, sister, the side that I seen was a side that they never seen. Because he was always a not caring person, He was that type of person. Only thing he really showed you was if he cared about you, you knew. He cared about his children. He cared about his family. That part you would see and you would know. But when he appeared to you, he would appear as this cold-hearted person, this gangster person, this person who, basically a kind of like cutthroat person.
So with you saying like your family was in your life and then you alluded to the fact that Marvin's family was in his life because you used to have to go to the prison with them to pretend you was his sister. What for parents out there who have children who try to do everything right for their children, what do you think like made you and Marvin like veer off of that path when you had such a strong foundation?
For me, it was the strong foundation. Like I said, when you're a teenager, when you're young, you don't understand that your family, your mom or whomever, is putting these values in you because they are trying to set you up for life. So you think, like I thought, well, my mother don't like me. Well, my mother's too hard on me. I have other siblings, but why am I the only one that have to clean up? Why am I the only one that have to go shopping? Why am I the only one that have to take care of mom when mom is sick? But what I have learned is the reason why I had to do all that is because mom trusted me to do it. You see, It's kind of like on your job. When you go to your job, you may not be qualified for a certain position, but if your boss has faith enough in you to know you can do it, it could be a person that's 20 years, but he'll put you on a position because he trusts you.
Yes.
Okay, and Marvin's daddy, he wasn't really raised like with his daddy. He didn't really have a good relationship with his father. Now his mother, he actually was raised by his grandparents, his grandmother and his grandfather. So Marvin kind of wanted a lot of attention from his mother that at this particular time his mother wasn't able to give him. So he turned to other things thinking, you know what I'm saying, that was going to get him attention because he was raised in a money home. He was raised in a two-parent home. I mean, he got everything he wanted. But oftentimes, we got to understand, we may give our children clothes and shoes and money and games and stuff like that, but it's the little things that they be looking for, a hug. You know,
Very true.
Coming to my school game, taking me to McDonald's.
Can you like kind of explain or tell us what a relationship is like with someone who's incarcerated? Like, we know what a relationship is like, you know, with someone who we can see, you know, on a daily or weekly basis.
Well, a relationship in prison is very hard. When I counsel people and I speak to people, I normally tell them, if you can get through a prison relationship, you can really get through anything. A prison relationship kind of goes like this. You only get to see that person on a Saturday or Sunday. You do have 6 hours to see the person, depending on what time you get to the visitation. Your phone calls are normally 15 minutes every time they call, and they're recorded. So just imagine if every time you got on the phone, somebody was recording your call. Imagine if you went and sat down with your husband and somebody's recording every move that you have. So it's a very difficult situation because it's hard. You know, imagine when you don't have finance, or I'll use him for example. Imagine when your man gets lonely. You know, when you go in prison, you can only give one kiss at the beginning, one kiss and hug, and one kiss and hug when you leave. Okay, how many of us are emotional people where we need to have physical touch? Mm-hmm. So for me, as physical touch being my love language, it was very difficult because, you know, you could do some more touching and fooling around, but if you're caught, it'll get you 6 months not coming to visitation. You see, so yes. It's like, it's a very hard thing. For me, emotionally, it was hard. It was hard for my children emotionally because once they got older and I did get a divorce from my current marriage, I then started taking my children because I was spending so much time in the prison. I didn't have anybody who would keep my children.
I wanted to get into that. So at what phase did you decide that, okay, I'm going to try to be in a relationship with Marvin?
Well, it was after me and my husband was married, and I had went and filed divorce.
Okay.
I had went and filed a divorce. So at the current time, I woke my husband up and I said, I want to take a trip. And he said, where we going? And I said, well, I want to take a trip. So what he didn't know was I was taking him to a paralegal to file for a divorce.
Wow.
So
damn.
Well, you know, I woke up that morning, and that's just how I felt. You know, we had been through different things in the marriage, and I just wanted out of the marriage because it seemed like the marriage wouldn't go anywhere. Okay. At this time, me and Marvin are still friends. So I go file a divorce, but when I filed a divorce, I didn't really want a divorce. What I wanted was the husband to say, basically, damn, I'm about to lose my marriage, I'm about to lose my kids, I just need to ship up. But he didn't do that. So, of course, that Saturday when I went to the prison, I went in there crying. You know, and Marvin said to me, what happened? You know, and I go to tell him, you know, that I went and filed for divorce and, you know, I want to get a divorce. So, you know, he didn't say nothing to me then. He waited about a week or two, and I went to see him, and he said to me, all these years I've been watching you in this relationship. And he said, I really wanted to be with you, but I wanted to make sure that your husband was out of your system. He said, because I never wanted it to say that you got a divorce because of me or I forced you out of a relationship. He said, but now that you have filed the divorce and you're really getting the divorce, I think me and you should be together. And I said to him, that's not going to happen. Ain't no kind of way I would go into a relationship with you.
So how did you get from the point of being like, nah, bro, to like being married to someone in prison? How did that escalate?